I wanted to thank you in general for joining us for this first series of webinars. This is presented exclusively to UCEA member institutions, and this is a professional development opportunity for you as a benefit of your affiliation with us. So thank you for joining us. This series was designed to help us with a sort of a summer shape-up. We wanted to cover things recruitment marketers and CE units could do now to get things in shape for fall. So we're pretty excited about this. John Horn, the president of JMH Consulting, has agreed to provide us with the content for this series. And at the end of today's session, I'll tell you more about the next two webinars that are coming up. So now I will hand it over to John Horn, president of JMH. He's coming to you from Atlanta today, and he's going to talk to us about perfecting the pay-per-click.
Thanks, Stacy. Let's just do one more quick sound check to make sure that everyone can hear me just fine. If you don't have your hand up, or if you do, would you just click that little hand button? You can turn it on, turn it off for yourself, just to show me that you're hearing me just fine. Great. I've attended enough webinars to know that there's no telling what can go wrong, so it's good that it looks like things are working. Well, hi guys. As Stacy said, my name is John Horn. I'd first like to thank her and UCEA for the opportunity to talk with you guys. Myself and my firm are big fans of UCEA. We attend the South Regional Conference and always the annual conference, as well as the marketing conference in the early part of the year. And we always walk away with new great ideas and love to go and share our own thoughts. This particular webinar today is actually somewhat of a follow-up from one that I delivered at the UCEA Marketing Conference in, I guess it was February. We were out west, and we did one on pay-per-click, and it was popular, well-attended, and it's obviously a hot topic in marketing right now, so we thought that a follow-up to that would be a great idea for this summer session. So we're going to be talking, for those of you that might have attended my presentation in February, a little bit at the beginning of this will be a review of that, but I'm going to get into some more advanced topics, what we call best practices in pay-per-click as well. My overall goal in this presentation is to give you a sense of how pay-per-click works at a very high level, kind of conceptual level, go through the basics, and then hit on those best practices. I'll be moving fairly quickly through here, but as Stacy said, the presentation is going to be available afterward if you want to go back and review the slides and such. Just to give you some perspective on myself and my firm, for those that don't know me, I've been building websites since 1995. I actually did it. I had an internship in college where I got to build my very first website at Emory University as Emory was building its first website. For those that don't know, the web itself has only been around since around 1989, 1990, so it's a fairly new endeavor. I spent about 6-7 years as a professional web developer and instructor in continuing education, and now my firm offers consulting services, including pay-per-click and various other things to primarily continuing education divisions around the country. We work closely with Emory University. We manage a big chunk of their professional education, but we do other kinds of projects as well. And with pay-per-click, we've been working with that for probably about 5 years. We manage accounts ranging from about $80,000 a year to accounts that are under $5,000 a year. So really, depending on what types of programs you have and what your marketing budget is and the kind of effectiveness that you find from pay-per-click, it can be a huge part of your marketing endeavors, or it can be a small part, and that's part of what learning about pay-per-click and finding out what works for you and what doesn't helps you to determine is how much of your budget amount should be allocated there. One important thing that we've learned in working with pay-per-click marketing with Google, Yahoo, MSN, and some others is that while there's certainly unique aspects to every type of account that you'd set up and every campaign you'd set up, there's also a lot of consistency, and that there are some best practices and some common approaches that will certainly work best. So we're at the point in the industry where there are some guidelines, there are some best practices, and that's part of what I'm going to be sharing with you guys, is some that we've both learned ourselves as they apply to continuing education, but also things that we're learning more generally from others in the industry that are using pay-per-click for other types of marketing. So I thought I would start with just a quick poll for you guys to get a sense of your internet savvy. So let's see who can get this question right. You should see a poll on your screen. I'd like you guys to tell me, take just a minute and I'll give you a chance to answer this. Can you guys see that poll? All right, great. Stacy, it doesn't look like I have the ability to close that and show the results. Could you do that for me? All right. So let's see. Which of the search engines below is the least popular? Excite, MSN, AOL, Ask, or Yahoo? And 47% said Excite. Let's see who got it right. In fact, it is Excite. You were correct. Excite, Lycos, AltaVista, Hotbot, Dogpile, all kinds of search engines that 10 years ago were significant players in the search engine arena are now relegated to the 4% that you see on the screen here of all other search engines. So as if you didn't know, Google is the dominant search engine, obviously, and then Yahoo has a significant chunk of usage, MSN 10%, and then we get into the smaller ones. Now the interesting thing about this is it applies to pay-per-click, is that the big three pay-per-click providers are Google, Yahoo, and MSN, and they have the largest percentage of searches. And if you add those up, you'll see that you get to right around 90%. Now what that means is that if you are running paid advertising on Google, Yahoo, and MSN, you can have your ad appear for 90% of people who are doing an appropriate search, and that's pretty good coverage. In fact, Google ads also appear on AOL, and there are many other sites where Google and Yahoo ads can also appear. So just by advertising on Google, Yahoo, and MSN, you can cover well over 90% of all searches that are going to be done and have your ads potentially appear. So the 4 stages of online marketing. This is a slide that I use in another presentation that I do, but I thought it was appropriate to begin this presentation just by focusing or taking a moment to talk about where pay-per-click marketing, paid search, falls within the sphere of online marketing. And this is a 4-stage process that I talk about often, wherein you have to move people from being aware that you exist to being interested in what you have to engaging them and then eventually converting them into a student. And as you can see, paid search really just falls into the first piece of this. So I want to emphasize that paid search is not something that can be done in a vacuum. It's not something that can be done in isolation. So if you're going to be investing a significant amount of money in paid search, as this, attending this webinar suggests that you may be interested in doing, don't forget to think about what happens after the people get to your website. And there's a metric that we'll talk about a little bit later called conversion rate, and that is a measure of the percentage of people that arrive at your site compared to the people who actually become a student and enroll. And that's something that's important to look at significantly for paid search, because you're spending money for every single one of those people that you're sending to your website. So as you get started with any kind of significant paid search campaign, just be thinking about what else happens, that just getting to the website is not enough.